Yes, hello, welcome everybody, it's Chris here from MoDXtra, and in today's video we're going to do an unboxing of a really exciting new board game I've picked up called Warp's Edge. Yes, okay, I'll get into the guts of it in just a minute for you, but some context. So Warp's Edge is by Renegade Game Studios. It's part of their Solo Hero series, the second game in their Solo Hero series. The first is called Proving Grounds, and I've not picked up Proving Grounds yet, I've just picked up this one. And it was of interest to me because I have a particular interest in solitaire board games. When I used to travel a lot for work, I used to entertain myself while I was out on the road on my own, stopping overnight in hotels with solo play board games, particularly smaller box ones that would fit in my luggage. You know, if I was in the car or on the train, I could just chuck it in the boot or in an extra bag. And the fact that this is exclusively designed for solo play was attractive to me, because what I often found when I was looking for solitaire play experiences was that they would be multiplayer games that would just have a solo play variant just tagged on to a couple of pages at the back end of the rule book. So that's Warp's Edge and why I'm unboxing it and looking at it. Even though I don't travel as much anymore, I've still maintained an interest in solitaire play games. So it was recently a Kickstarter, and then a few copies have kind of made their way over here to the UK, and this one I picked up from a local gaming store that I know that has a copy. So let's not delay, let's crack it open and take a look at the guts inside. Right, okay then, so here's my copy of Warp's Edge that came in the post just the other day. Let's take a look at the guts, let's have a look at what's inside. I pre-lined up the lid for a quick release then. Were you impressed by that? One thing, does anyone else have trouble with tabletop games getting lids off boxes? Or is that just me? Anyway, let's have a look what we've got inside here. So we've got Warp's Edge Singularity, written by Banana Chan, illustrated by Tyler Johnson. So I think I read about this. So what they've got is an option to do a kind of storyline playthrough of the game. So this is the sort of parts and the instructions. I don't know if that's like a tutorial, like first playthrough tutorial. It does seem to have little notes in here. I don't know if they're game-related notes. Who's in the photo? You and your fellow pilots. But yeah, I did read about this. So there's kind of like a storyline playthrough. But obviously you can just play the game straight out the box. And here's the rule book. It looks quite thick, that. I'm not a fan of big rule books, although actually it looks pretty well laid out and quite comprehensive. Maybe it's quite big because it's well illustrated. I'll obviously get into that in more detail when I sit down to learn the game and give it its first play. But that looks like a pretty well put together rule book. One thing that I always have a bit of a bugbear about is that it is my belief, my firm belief, that rule books should start with the end in mind. So the first thing that should be pointed out to you before you even get into like components and, you know, walkthroughs of cards and how it's all put together, which it looks like they've done here. Game setup, before you even get into all that, is just a straight up, very comprehensive description of this is how you win the game, and it will be played in this way. Now, what they've chosen to do is go for kind of colour text story, but it does appear, scanning it now while I'm recording, to cover that off, so that's interesting. But there you go, there's the rule book. What else have we got here? So, okay, so these are... I've not popped these out just yet. Oh, that light's a bit shiny on there. So here we go, we've got the... these are the spaceships. I think, I'm pretty sure you can choose a kind of scaling level of difficulty as to which of these ships that you play. So I'll pop those out in just a moment. We've got Hermes and Achilles there, and these are these are the enemy ships that you have to go up against by the looks of it. So just two choices. Wait a minute. No, four choices, because we've got the reverse sides as well. There we go. So I'll pop those out in just a second. And as we've just had a look at here, we've also got the enemy spaceships that we have to go up against. So quite a few there. We've got the Hydra, like a big giant space robot thing with laser hands. We've got the Revenant, looks like a kind of more traditional kind of space frigate type thing. Are these double-sided as well? Yes, they are. So we've got the array there. That looks pretty intense, doesn't it? I get the feeling. Oh yeah, so look, it's got a little difficulty marker at the top here. This is the 4-star difficulty. And then what have I got under here? We've got the Revenant, like a sort of anime-style space robot with a lightsaber. That's a 4-star difficulty. If I flip these back over, the Hydra here is a 2-star difficulty. The Revenant is a 4-star difficulty. The Warp there is a 1-star difficulty. Actually, I just caught a glimpse in the rulebook as I was flicking through then that this is your starter one, I think. And then we've got the Duo, 3-star difficulty. And then a variety of tokens available for use. But that looks pretty well put together stuff. And then inside the box here, this is really interesting. Can you slide these out somehow? Is there a way of... are these supposed to come out? Let's have a look. Ah, yeah, they are supposed to come out. So these are like little token storage trays. Really appreciate these. These were one of the aspects of the game that caught my eye. So when I pop those out in a moment, I believe they'll all get lined up in these trays. Then you've got your token bag. So it's a token drafting, random draw type thing. We've got some little placky bags. I wonder what the ocean would feel about those. A deck of cards here, which looks like it's got... So if I remember rightly from a review I read, you sort of draw... You've not only got the big kind of main sort of space ship, but you've also got these little ones that you draw. You have to kill the sort of minions before you can get through to the big guys. So there's all that. Let's move it out the way. But I think it's a very good looking. The components look very good. Very good looking game. I know that the Kickstarter edition had some fancy gubbins going on. I wonder if that was like, because this is just a sort of plastic, plastic little storage box, whether it was a fancy one or something. Then we've got a few tokens here, presumably for use to track some stuff as it's going on, like your life and your shields and things. And then there's even more sort of game insert space at the bottom of the box there, with more kind of token storage trays, which is interesting. Alright, let's pop some tokens out and have a look, shall we? Right, okay then, so here we go. I've popped all my tokens out and got them all lined up in the various inserts. It looks like it's a pretty well thought out game in terms of helping the player organise themselves and keep everything together. It did have this diagram inside the manual here to kind of illustrate what tokens are supposed to go where. I did have a little bit of initial confusion over the coding. So we've got these letter codes here that are telling you what type of token are supposed to go in which section where. But then there's additional tokens with the same letter coding on them. What it seems to imply is that different spaceships and different enemies that you battle require a kind of initial setup where you add more tokens to the pool. I've not got that far through the manual, and I'll do a kind of off-screen learner playthrough by myself to get that all figured out. But what I did notice was that the way it is written, there's like an assumed understanding. So it was written by someone who knows the game, and so to them it makes sense, but to me I was flicking back and forth, and I was looking at the component definitions, and I was like, well, that refers to these as 99 standard tokens, but then there's reference to power tokens here, but I don't think it's really explained what power tokens are before I've got to the point where this language of power tokens come into play. What's the difference between these power tokens and those power tokens? So I just kind of went with the pictures and the numbers of tokens I could see in the illustrations to put them there. So that could be right, that could be wrong, the way I've set that up there, I don't know. However, that said, that's just something that you'll learn as you kind of engage more with the game. But I suppose again, it takes me back to what I said a little earlier about some things need calling out before you get into the depths of the gameplay kind of thing, and I don't know if that was very well expressed, but there we are. But this is more of an unboxing than a review, so I'll pack that up and put it away for now. So we've got what appears to be a token set that are sort of laser beam shots and like little swirly energy things. So this is what I think are like the enemy stuff. I noticed some of the enemy cards have got kind of matching images there. You've then got your enemy vessels and your own spaceship there, which you choose at the outset of the game. Then we've got these kind of, I think these are sort of maneuvers and attacks that you can do. There are then two decks. You've got the enemy spaceships, the little minion ships that I mentioned before, and then what they've called a skill deck in the manual, and an additional batch of tokens. But I do really appreciate this insert, actually. Again, going back to looking for portability in solo play games, it was something I was very interested in when I travelled a lot. This would have been, I'd have been very excited about kind of this, the way it all kind of comes together safely and securely by popping these on top here and such like. So yeah, that's it's a really good looking game in that respect. But there you go, there's all the components now laid out. I don't think there's anything in addition to that. So there you go, there's my little short unboxing of Warp's Edge. A really good looking game. Oh, I'll tell you one other thing that did occur to me. These tokens, these card tokens, one thing that does occur to me is whether we're at a wear and tear risk with those. I don't know. I might have to have a look. I'll go on Board Game Geek and have a look and see if there's people who've maybe put them in kind of plastic coin protectors or something. Again, I wonder. I think if one of the bonuses on the Kickstarter edition was that you got plastic tokens, maybe, or wooden tokens rather than these, but something to bear in mind. But I've not started playing it yet, so I don't know how true or not that is. That's just an initial concern. So I'm going to go away now and give this a play now that I've cracked it open. I'll possibly do a more detailed review down the line, so make sure that you're subscribed to the channel and got your notification bell ticked so that when I do that you can see the follow-up to this. And also jump on over to our Twitch channel. It's twitch.tv/MoDXtra without the E, because as a solo play game I may bust this out and do a bit of live streaming and give it a playthrough on stream with you guys involved, so make sure that you do that. But otherwise, thanks for coming along for my little unboxing video. If this is something that you've enjoyed, let me know and I can do more of this type of content. But in the meantime, I've been Chris from MoDXtra, and I'll see you on a podcast, on a video, or over at Twitch sometime soon.